I'm John Sadler, president of Sadler Sports Insurance, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person today. What sets us apart from all of our competitors is that we want to help you get in compliance with all of your risk management obligations under the various federal and state laws, and we want to help make this as pain-free as possible. When we talk about federal laws, we're talking about the Federal Safe Sport Act, and state laws include various concussion laws and sudden cardiac arrest laws. We also want you to be in compliance with the AYF AYC Terms of Service Agreement that you signed when you became a member, which has certain risk management obligations on your behalf that you agree to comply with. In short, we want to help you prevent the injury to the spectator or the participant before it turns into a lawsuit. For those of you in Florida, there's a new Florida fingerprint background check law. It was originally going to be effective January 1, 2025, but they had to put the brakes on, and now the revised effective date is July 1, 2026. It applies to all youth sports associations in Florida, and fingerprint background checks are going to be required for all athletic coaches, including assistant coaches, managers, referees, and other staff who have direct contact with minors. The fingerprint background check must be submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and I can just tell you after reviewing this law, it's going to be an administrative burden, time-consuming and expensive to comply with. Under the Florida law, sports associations must designate a local agency security officer who must submit an application on behalf of the sports org for approval, receive an information packet with additional forms to complete, set up an account on the portal, undergo training, and submit applicants' review results and make a DQ determination. It's all going to be very time-consuming. The current published cost is $67.25 per volunteer. Please see our blog for more information. Large tournament hosting may require the purchase of additional insurance. There's an exception. Any conference that purchases regular season coverage under a single application for all associations and all teams are exempt. However, all others must purchase additional insurance for hosting large tournaments with 10 or more outside teams. This applies to AYF regional hosting and other large tournaments such as preseason jamborees. Sadler has negotiated highly discounted insurance rates, which you can find on our AYF webpage. Tournament hosts must require all participating teams to provide evidence that they carry $100,000 accident and $1 million general liability. The policy must name the host as an additional insured and must include participant legal liability. Sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 killer of student athletes while participating in sports. The Damar Hamlin incident in the NFL has resulted in increased awareness. California, Ohio, Maryland, Tennessee, Washington, and other states have mandatory laws for youth sports organizations which require administrator and coach training and SCA, and some have state-specific videos. Many have a fact sheet handout that's mandatory for administrators, coaches, parents, and athletes, and many require written policies and procedures to help prevent and respond to an incident. Sadler has developed a new SCA risk management program that may satisfy the various state law requirements. This is available on the AYF webpage. SCA facts. SCA is not a heart attack. It is almost impossible to mess up while using an AED and injure a person you're trying to resuscitate. And SCA is the most likely culprit if there is a sudden collapse and where the person is non-responsive or in a convulsion. Sports violence is on the rise in youth sports. We see situations where the coach or umpire is the aggressor, the parent is the aggressor, the athlete is the aggressor. We see spectator versus spectator, and we even see drive-by shootings. AYF leagues are having incidents and lawsuits. 5% of AYF leagues have had an incident, and 37% consider sports violence a serious concern. We've had cases in Florida which was spectator versus spectator, California, where a parent was attacked by coaches after an award ceremony, and in Alabama, where a parent was attacked by coaches after complaining about the son's lack of game play. If your coach or umpire gets into a fight and injures someone, you can and likely will be sued, especially if they have a criminal background or a known propensity for violence. The most common legal theories of recovery we see would be negligent hiring, supervision, retention of coaches and other staff members, failure to protect participants and spectators if danger is reasonably foreseeable, such as a past history or knowledge of violence, such as bad blood between two teams, knowledge of potential violence, such as threats on social media. You need to work closely with the facility manager, private security, and/or law enforcement. As far as anti-violence risk management, we have a blog which explains how AYF organizations can address this problem. You should publish a zero-tolerance policy for violence or actions that can lead to violence. You should publish codes of conduct for coaches, players, and parents, and you should get an agreement to comply with the codes of conduct built into the registration process. What this does, it provides you with a contractual remedy to enforce sanctions. You should also have signage at fields to reinforce the rules and sanctions. And you should have serious sanctions for misconduct for the violator, for their participating child, and for the team as a whole. But of course, you would want to check out these sanctions with the local attorney to make sure that you are in compliance with local laws. Heat stroke death is a very serious concern in youth tackle football. We had a $1 million heat stroke death claim settlement back in 2018 in Atlanta. It is 100% preventable if you immediately and simultaneously start cold water immersion and if you call EMS. All administrators and staff should read our article entitled How to Prevent Heat Stroke Death in Tackle Football. Wet bulb globe temperature is the new standard of care in lawsuits for decisions to cancel and postpone. Heat index was the old standard. The problem is a wet bulb globe temperature meter can cost anywhere from $100 to $200, but there's a Weather FX app which you can get for your smartphone, which can give an approximation of wet bulb globe temperature in your area. You should have a cold water immersion tub on hand with ice and water. And it doesn't have to be expensive medical grade. It can be a Rubbermaid container or a kiddie pool, but the main thing is to start before EMS arrives. As far as group transportation is concerned, 15-passenger vans remain popular. However, they have a high tip-over propensity, and there are many warnings from the federal and state governments on their use. Our insurance does not cover the use of 15-passenger vans. Better options would be a school bus, a charter bus, or a caravan of private passenger or minivans. But hiring a charter bus is still not liability-free, as we found out back in 2018 when an AYF league had a bad crash in Tennessee with multiple fatalities. So what you still have to do is you must research the safety record of the charter bus company. You must collect certificates of insurance evidencing they have auto liability coverage, and you must make your children wear safety belts. We have an excellent blog on this topic that you can review. It's absolutely critical that the following written risk management plans be adopted and implemented. First of all, waiver release. You should obtain one on all of your minor athletes and your adult staff. Yes, they are worth the paper they're written on, and yes, electronic waivers do hold up in the courts. You want to have a child abuse risk management plan. It's required by the new federal Safe Sport Act, and even if you don't fall squarely under the terms of the act, it has become the standard of care under the law of negligence. It's also required by your insurance carrier so you don't void your $1 million sex abuse molestation coverage. You want to have a concussion awareness risk management plan. You want to have a sudden cardiac arrest risk management plan. And we provide a sample AYF AYC risk management plan which combines all of the above critical risk management issues as well as many other into a single document, which makes it easy for you to manage. It's password protected, which means it's only available to current AYF Sadler clients, and it really does simplify the risk management process. In a lawsuit, it's critical to be able to prove that you provided risk management awareness training and had written policies and procedures. Once you adopt risk management plans, how do you document the delivery to staff members and their agreement to comply? Well, the best way is through electronic signatures as part of the online registration process for staff. You can have a section after your electronic waiver release where staff acknowledges that they've received a copy of your risk management document and that they will agree to abide by its terms. You should also post your risk management plan on your website and have a link to that in your document, your registration document. Also, you can use DocuSign and alternatives to deliver your document to your administrators and coaches. You can also have a paper registration form with a paragraph inserted about your risk management plan and for their agreement to comply. And the old-fashioned way to do this is to have a gang signature paper document that you distribute at a preseason meeting where everyone signs off that they agree to comply. As regards the AYF AYC Endorsed Team Association Conference Insurance Program, for this year we've changed our master policy renewal date at the program renewal level from June 30th to March 1st. However, if you already have your policy in force with your set effective date, this will not negatively impact you in any way. The new rates for new applications beginning March 1st and later for renewals are the same as last year. What we negotiate is simply a function of what is our loss history compared to how much premiums we collect. That's why it's very important for all insured AYF AYC members to implement our recommended risk management to keep losses as low as possible. And it's also very important for all insured AYF AYC members to accurately report all teams when enrolling for coverage, because if you don't, that's going to reduce the premiums we collect, and that's going to have a negative impact on rates. Our website is capable of providing all services without ever communicating with a staff member at Sadler. Visit sadlersports.com/AYF for all information and services. It's critical here that if you're new to insurance or you want a quick update, see the quick education section to get up to speed. The web page has all coverages and rates. You can apply or renew online 24/7. The renewals will include pre-population of prior year's information to cut down on your time and keystrokes. Our automation allows you to self-issue new certificates of insurance at any time. You can file claims, and you can access all of our special risk management resources for AYF and AYC on this page. I want to take a minute to brag about our trained staff. Our instant online quote pay print website is the best in the industry. However, at some point during the season, you may need our trained staff to answer questions about coverage, questions about risk management. You may need a special certificate of insurance with special wording. You may need help adding or deleting teams or filing a claim. We have a ticketing system that professionally manages each staff member and grades them in terms of their performance and how long it takes for them to close a ticket and their overall customer satisfaction rating. And I'm very proud that 97% of our staff aggregately, their performance grade is an A. We offer 5 different insurance policies. The first is a $100,000 accident policy, which pays medical benefits on behalf of injured participants. Rates vary per team, per age group, per deductible. And the deductible options are $0, $100, $250, or $500. We also have $1 million, $2 million, or $5 million general liability policies, and the rates vary per team, per age group. And this policy covers certain lawsuits. Usually we're talking about spectator injury or participant injury lawsuits. The $5 million general liability option is only available if it is required by contract. We also offer $1 million or $2 million directors and officers liability policies. The flat charge varies from $377 to $485 in all states except New York and Hawaii, where it's slightly more expensive. We have a combined equipment crime policy. The equipment rates are $1.53 per $100 of coverage, except New York and Hawaii. The crime rate is a flat charge of $280, and the policy minimum premium is $300. These bullet points are reasons why our AYF AYC insurance program blows away all of our competitors. I'm not going to cover all of these, but just suffice it to say that we have the premier program in the country based on a combination of broad protection, low prices, ease of enrollment, and our free risk management resources. This isn't just sales fluff. I believe this to be the truth. Intentional underreporting of teams is insurance fraud, and a claim may be denied. The number of teams reported to AYF AYC must equal the number of teams reported to Sadler Insurance, and vice versa. While underwriting the insurance enrollment, we review websites and social media to find out if the numbers match what was reported on the insurance enrollment. The definition of a tackle team is no more than 36 players per team. For example, you can't have a team called the Mustangs that has a 12U team, 10U, and 15U and only pay for one team. That is 3 different teams. There are 2 different ways for a conference to apply for coverage, and this is option number 1. Under a single application, the conference applies for coverage under its own name, adds the names of all associations, and reports and pays a premium based on all teams for all associations. The advantage of this approach is there's less of chance of an association not purchasing insurance coverage at all or purchasing inadequate coverage. The conference is provided with general liability to protect itself and its directors and officers at no additional charge, and there's automatic coverage to the conference for regional hosting and for conference all-star teams. Now this is option number 2 for how a conference can apply for coverage. First of all, the conference can require all associations to separately purchase their own accident and general liability insurance and to collect a certificate of insurance from each evidencing such. The conference must purchase a conference-only policy. There's a flat charge of $481, but they also need to pay extra for each conference all-star team that they have. The prices are listed here. The conference must also purchase a tournament host policy when hosting any tournament with outside teams. The general liability charges per team are listed here, as well as the accident charge. And conferences should also purchase a separate directors and officers liability policy. So you can see that if the conference allows associations to purchase their own insurance, the conference can incur some quite significant fees in buying its own protection, which would not be the case if the conference went the route of option number 1. The $1 million sex abuse and molestation limit under general liability will be voided unless you do 3 things. Number 1, have a system in place to perform and run background checks on all paid staff and volunteers. Number 2, have written procedures that include sex abuse and molestation prevention And number 3, written procedures to include a response plan for allegations that require law enforcement to be notified. And of course, we provide the template for this written risk management program that you can simply adopt. Thank you for listening to my video today. If you have any questions, you can contact us at 800-622-7370, or you can visit our webpage at sadlersports.com/AYF. Thank you.